You know, I didn't start this channel to talk about heavy stuff. I tried to make this as a way of escapism for you guys, for if any of you that are going through some kind of really bad situation at home or just going through a lot of stress or a lot of conflicting emotions. I just wanted to use this channel as a way to bring you some kind of escapism, some kind of comfort. And yeah, I know I have made a lot of people mad with some of my opinions, but I didn't start this channel to talk about heavy stuff. But there is something we have to talk about. It's going to be hard to talk about, and I'm not doing this as a review, okay? Don't get that twisted. This is not a review. It is nothing more than a discussion and me getting things off my chest. Let's talk about the Quiet on Set documentary that was specifically centered around Nickelodeon. Now, as I've probably stated in the past, but I'll say it again for those of you who don't know, I am one of those people that grew up a lot on Nickelodeon. It was my favorite channel as a kid. Like, from the live action stuff like Drake and Josh, Victorious, iCarly, and then, of course, all the animated shows, SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents. Like, it was just the channel to be when I was a kid. And rarely did I ever flip the channel. And now, all these years later, to find out that those live action shows that I love so much was made by such a terrible person who I'm not going to name because he doesn't deserve any more credit. It breaks my heart. And it breaks my heart even more what happened to my favorite of these live action Nickelodeon actors. Watching this was one of the most challenging, heartbreaking things I've ever watched. Not because it's bad, no. It is by no means bad. But because it is very heartbreaking and depressing. Because as a kid, when you watch these shows, you just think it's gotta be like the best time ever, being on this set and making all these different media of entertainment for people to watch and to maybe get a laugh or, meet new people and make friends. But the dark reality is that most of these sets were on these shows were not very kind at all. They were controlling, they were malicious, and they were full, apparently, of very bad people. And the worst part is that the kids or parents couldn't say or do anything because that would be jeopardizing their careers. Sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of breathing in and out, but I'm just trying to keep a level head because I don't want to turn this into an angry rant. I just want to use this to get things off my chest after having watched this and seeing everything that's happened. Hell, a lot of it even happened before I was even born, which just depresses me, honestly. Hollywood is not always all it's cracked out to be. It's not always about glitz and glamour. It has a very, very dark undertone that a lot of people choose to ignore or try to sweep under the rug in order to keep their jobs. When in reality, the things they were doing were immoral, reprehensible, and all kinds of illegal. And the one specific person that this documentary focused on is just the worst kind of person you can imagine. And power and fame can change anybody, for both the better and the worse. But more specifically in this case, for the worse. Especially when you find out that 3 of the people that were working on some of these shows for Nickelodeon were pedophiles who did all of these inappropriate things to children. And these children couldn't say a single word because they wanted to keep their careers. Look, I'm not victim blaming here, okay? It is by no means the child's fault because it's their first big break. They want to try to keep their career going by any means necessary, but they can't speak out against this person without jeopardizing everything that they want to do and that they're trying to build. And not only was this specific person an absolutely horrific pedophile, but he also turned out to be sexist and racist. Alarmingly so. And seeing that this horrible person has made some of my favorite shows of all time, like, how do you respond to that? How do you respond to the news of, hey, you know this person that made all this stuff that you loved as a kid? Well, they're an actual piece of shit. Like, whether you're a kid or an adult, that is something really hard to process. And my heart breaks for every single person that was affected by this absolute scumbag. Especially one in particular that we have to talk about. Drake Bell. Growing up, watching Drake and Josh as a kid, Drake Parker was my favorite character. Yes, it wasn't Josh like you'd expect it to be, because he's the fun goofball. No. As a kid, I wanted to be like Drake. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to have the girls. I wanted to have the attention. I wanted to have the talent. And yeah, I see now that was a horrible freaking way of thinking, I know. And this may come as a bit of a shock to you, but Drake Bell and his performance on Drake and Josh was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to be a singer in the first place. I mean, yeah, the obvious inspiration was Chris Young. That has been made abundantly clear multiple times, but Drake Bell was another big inspiration for me for wanting to be a singer and for wanting to see what I could do with my voice. And to find out he had it worse than anybody. Stuck with this absolutely horrible person who violently abused him to such a horrible level that he couldn't even bring himself to describe it in the actual documentary. Like, it breaks my heart, man. Like, how do you respond to that? And for those 3 pedophiles, this is a message specifically for you. Go fuck yourselves, you actual pieces of shit. That's for those 3. And then for everyone that was affected by these 3 pieces of shit, my heart breaks for you. and I pray for you to find healing and closure, and a thank you for having the courage to tell your story. And hopefully it'll help spread awareness and keep this from ever happening again. It's just hard to imagine what was really going on, but when you pull back that curtain, that glitz and glam, you see the damage that these people went through and what they suffered through just because of these three scumbags that literally ruined their lives in many ways. But it's like an old saying has stated multiple times: confession is the first step to true healing. So I can only hope that by confessing their stories in this documentary, all these very talented people that was put through all this horrible stuff is able to find that healing and find that closure. Because after all they've been through, they deserve to live a happy, normal life. This was hard to watch, yes, but in a way, I do recommend seeing it. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to break your heart into pieces if you're like me and grew up watching some of these shows as a kid. But it's a story that needs to be told. It is a series that needs to be seen. And the awareness needs to be spread. So we can try to prevent it from ever happening again to anybody else. That's really all I have to say. If you decide to watch this video, thank you. It means a lot, but I promise you this video is not monetized, and I'm not doing it to ride off the attention wave that this series is getting, no. I did this because as a 2000s Nick kid that grew up with these shows, and almost just now hearing about most of these stories, it hurts, man. And since it is related to something that was close to my heart, I had to come on here and just express my thoughts. So, may the three horrible pedophilic scumbags rot in hell. May all the people that were affected by them find healing and closure. And a thank you to everyone who made this documentary, because it wasn't made with the sole purpose of getting attention or making money. This was made to spread awareness. This was made to show that it's not all glitz and glamour in Hollywood. And especially how Nickelodeon should have known better than to hire any of these people. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to. I'm not going to make you, and I'm not going to turn this into a shameless plug. Because this is a very serious topic. And I couldn't go staying silent any longer. Especially because apparently in April there is another episode coming out. And it's probably going to be even harder to watch than the last one. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Please, I highly recommend watching this series and spread the awareness of this by any way that you can. and hopefully I'll see you next time for a much cheerier video. So, sorry to get so dark and serious on you, but I had some things to say. And I feel better now that I've gotten them all off my chest. So, watch this documentary. Just make sure to have a box of tissues nearby. Okay? Alright. Be good people, guys. I'll see you next time.